Welcome back, everybody. Kathy Arbor here, and today I'm doing a live. So I thought once a month I'll come on and do the lives with you, and the other times I'll be doing the premiere videos instead. Let me check everything. It's just easier for me, and then I don't have to worry about problems with the internet going down and all that type of thing. So today we're going to be doing this cute little fox, and this is one of my own creations. And I've already put it on a piece of watercolor paper. And in this one today, I've decided, I changed my mind at the last minute. I'm going to actually have watercolor and acrylic and possibly some colored pencil also. So if you want to get out your colored pencils and your watercolor and your acrylic paints, I'm using, oh, this thing is really trashed. I'm gonna have to see. I just want to be sure you guys can see this okay. So I just use the Americana or Delta Coat, whatever you have is fine. I prefer using these when I'm just experimenting. They're not as expensive as your regular artist grade, and I like them just as well. Now, if you're doing a painting on a canvas, you can still use that. Uh, the only thing is they aren't like, 100 years archival type of thing. So if you're going to be selling this, then I would suggest doing it with artist grade acrylics. So if you've got any questions, you can pop into chat. Just put it in caps so I know it's for me. And let's get started. So I'm going to do the background first, and I'm not going to worry about the fox. I'm going to go right over top of the fox. I can still see the lines. This was printed on a laser jet, so I don't have to worry about the lines disappearing on me. So I'm going to do a lot of blues, purples, and then I'm going to leave areas, some areas in white. And if I decide I don't like where they were, I can always cover them up again. So I like using watercolor with acrylics because there's different effects you get with watercolor versus acrylics. And I like the misty, mysterious look of watercolor for backgrounds especially. And it's really difficult to get that when you're working with the acrylic. It's just a lot more harder to get the same effect. So why not use the two? That's the way I look at it. Okay, so I'm going to wet my whole paper, and this traceable here is available for all my Patreon members and my YouTube join members. And you can see the little join button down below here. It says join. If you can't see that, you're probably on a smartphone from Apple or an Apple product, and for some reason they're unable to see that join button. So what you can do is don't go through the YouTube app, go through a browser first, and then usually that fixes the problem up. So I'm just going to put my paper over here because this is going to It's just a base coat of water that I want to put on here. I have a large brush, or we could spray it actually, because I want a nice wet piece of paper. So then I can just take my brush and just make sure I got all the areas nice and wet. And if you want to keep it wet longer, you could also wet the back of it. And also that helps with the curling of your paper if you wet the back. Mind you, it stays wet a lot longer. Okay, there we go. So now what I want to do, I'm just going to put this up here so you can see what I'm doing. Is I'm going to do it in the same colors as the photographs, or not photograph, the reference. And so I want a fairly light blue. So I have a cobalt blue here. And I'm going to mix some of that. Actually, that's almost done. I think I'll just add water to that palette. Let it soak it up. And I'm just going to add a little bit of a purple. So maybe this dioxazine purple here. Just make sure it's really watered down because that's a really strong color. And let's see. Let's make sure it's good and wet. And then I just take my colors and just go through here. I'm not going to worry about the trees because the trees will also be done with some acrylic. And then a little blue here. You can leave some white if you want to put white in for, clouds, whatever. Like I said, I'm not worried about the color of the fox yet because I'm going to do that in acrylics. Now you must remember too that a lot of watercolors dry lighter. So you might want to put a thicker coat of blue on. Let's try some French ultramarine here and there, just to darken some of that, give it a little bit of moodiness back there. And then we have quite a bit of blue in here. This is the background. Kind of want to know where my the horizon line is, and then just skiff in some blue areas here. So it'll be kind of representing shadows. Then don't want any hard edges, so just take clean water. So some of the areas will be lighter than others. Right in there. I'm not worried about the fox, but I do want to make sure that there's enough color around that fox. He'll have snow on him and stuff like that. Actually, I think I'm going to put some of that blue right in here. I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. keep forgetting. I'm going to use my acrylic. Okay, so let's dry that and we'll see what kind of background we get. Hey, Mina. Cat. Yeah, I'm starting off with a watercolor background and then I'm going to use acrylics on top of it. It just gives it another effect. Sometimes your acrylics are a little harder to get that misty look. So we'll be putting on acrylic paint. I've got craft paint here. And the printable is ready for you to download. And you can find that on my membership page for Patreon and for YouTube. It's in the community page. Been looking forward to this live. Oh, great. Now you don't have to use watercolor. You could use just acrylic paint. And if you're going to be using acrylic paint, I would go into kind of, this one's here, Blue Jay Blue. It's a little bit on the gray side. Here's another one, Blue Ribbon by Folk Art. So what kind of painting do you like to do, Mina? I'm going to dry the back also, and then it'll just help it to lie down. Just remember, I put quite a bit of water on this, so before I start laying down any more, I want to dry this. This is a watercolor paper that I'm using. It's 190 pound, I think it was. No, I like the flexibility of watercolor and the intensity of acrylic. Yeah. Do you do videos, Nina? So we're always looking for more people. Now you'll be able to tell whether your paper is fully dry after you stop the heat gun, let it cool off a bit, and then put your wrist down. And if it still feels cool, then it still needs to dry a little bit more. I like sketching, drawing nature and animal scenes. Rarely ever color them though. So your lot today is, oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm a sketcher that's how I started. Art is with sketching. All right. It's a little warped, but it'll straighten out. All right, so we could add a little bit more moodiness back there if we wanted to, but I'm going to add some white acrylic in the background for the highlights of the snow, and then the trees will be done with blacks and grays and a little bit of probably one of the blues in here for the snow that got stuck on the bark type of thing. So I done this. I think maybe I'll put a little hint more of blue. Not much more, but a bit. Just in certain areas where it would be a little bit darker, like say around the body here, where his feet are. But I don't want it to be too hard-edged. I want it more soft looking. So it'd be a little bit darker just under the body here. So we can put that in. And I'm just gonna soften some of those edges up. All right. Right there, I think. Could be dark. Okay, and let's give that a dry. All right. So next what I'm going to do is start putting in the snow and the background. And the last thing we'll do will be the tree limbs that go over top of the box. So the background, the fox, and then the tree over top of the box. There's little limbs. You need to get that background in first. This is a whole lot easier putting the edges of the fur, how it's very fine looking and detailed. So you don't want to be painting around that. All right, so we can put our watercolor palette away. And I'll get out a paint palette. Okay, I just use these when I do my videos. It's just because it's a whole lot easier size-wise for you guys to see, as I know you like watching my palette at the same time. I'll just take some of these big globs out. Should do. All right, so we're going to play with the blues. So this, let's see, this blue here probably, it's a little bit darker than the one that's on my palette. Now I'm not going to use a whole lot of this, but I want a little bit just in case I have to go over some of the areas. So let's put some of that on my palette. And then the white, actually I think I got some white here. Okay. White. And a nice brush. I'm going to take my watercolor brush out of my palette here. I think I'm going to use a flat, and this one is a number 12. It's one of the one-stroke plaid. Don't know if you can see that. Probably not. No, it's too hard. And I want a piece of paper towel on the ready. All right, so we have, I'll show you my drawing. So we have sweeps of a bit of highlighted snow, a lot more on this side. There's the little bits of shadowing in there. So there's not a lot to do, but then we have to put the trees in, and then we'll put snow on the branches. So a little bit of paint, and we just want to highlight some of this. So further away, the smaller your marks will be. So there'll be just, a few, maybe there's some hills. You want to indicate that. Just remember, they'll have highlights and then the low light, the shadows beneath it. Like that. There's quite a bit in here. There's going to be some tree limbs sticking out on the side here. Now you could take a scruffy brush and put this in if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be a smooth application. It could be very messy looking because there's little tracks in the snow, and so I'll stick to the little marks that I made in the drawing for you, so you can use those. But if you want to venture on to something a little more detailed, by all means, change up the drawing. So as you see, I'm not too worried about getting exactly the shape. This is very impressionistic. I'm just going to go back and forth right in here. Don't forget the edges. And we can always go back and put more in. This is just a base coat. Hey, Devin. She was lagging today. Is it cold there today? Okay, I'm just going to dry that, and then I'm going to put some trees in. Hey, Dot. Okay. I'm glad you're out for a tea. Dot, we will be having a live stream on Sunday if you're around and interested for the membership. It'll be journaling. and it'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern. And for budding artists, I will have a video up for you on Saturday. So keep a watch out for that video on your community page and Patreon or YouTube membership. Okay, awesome. All right, there's a bit of snow in it for the base. It's just the base coat. But I do want to get some trees inside here. So let's get some black. I'm not going to get all crazy with color. This one's just plain black. Because it's a background, we'll have lots of snow clinging to the trunks. So first put a black base coat on. So no detail. The detail always comes later, but we do need a base coat. So and then these are also I'm just using the side of my flat to get a straight, well, kind of straight line. They don't have to be all straight. It's not all wild trees grow straight. They're usually wonky. Let's put a little white in this so I can just have a difference in color so I know one from the other. A little bit more. It's behind too, so it would be a little bit of a different color. Four more. You can put as many in as you want. You don't have to stick with the amount that I put in. I'm going to get a smaller brush now so I can do some smaller, let's see, smaller branches. A little more finicky. Oh, you found the thing. Thanks, Devin. Okay, have a fantastic dinner. Okay, then we have some trees in here. Okay. Now, I want some really thin tree line in here. So it'd be more a little bit on the bluish side, but put a little bit of black in there just to gray it down. And I think I'm going to even get a smaller brush, maybe a script liner. I want to be able to put fairly thin lines in. Let's see, where's my script liner? Huh. Where did I put it? I'll use this one, I guess. It's thin. See how thin it'll be. And I just want to put in along the and these could be whatever tree you want. And I'm going to let this dry brush work to my advantage. So these could also be the look of, what are they called? Beech and birch, because they're light colored. Usually grow in like groupings. And then I'm going to just lightly add water to that. Just put in a few. And we'll come back in and also put in tree, like it's covered for snow and that type of thing. This is a bush area. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the bluer color now. Maybe even a little bit of white. Just add a few of that in the background here, just a bit. Now, if you wanted to, you could get your watercolors back out. I might do that and show you. You can still use your watercolors, even though you have acrylic paint on it. So just play. This is when I like to experiment because the paper is cheap. So we can always start over again. And most people that are doing a canvas usually do a couple trial runs with their subject matter before they venture into something a little more, just to see what kind of effects they can do. All right. So now we're going to take that white and that blue, make a nice blue, soft blue with that. And that's going to help me put a little bit of snow on top of the trees, and let's see, I think I'm going to take a dry brush though. So I want this to be fairly dry brush look. So it gives that effect of bark. So just a little bit on my brush here, and then sweep it. Let it dry brush itself. Be lighter areas and darker areas. So if you've got any questions, just put it in caps so I can see it. Very simple. So I'm concentrating more of it on the right side. Oop, that one's still wet. Mix more of that up. A little more white. Take some of it off. making quesadilla while I watch. It's almost lunchtime here. Corn tortillas, ooh, sounds good. All right, so there's the first part. Now I want to get a little bit of a smaller, let's see. Do I have that scruffy brush? There it is. Another scruffy brush. It's a little softer, this one. And just gonna get into some of these finer areas here. This blue. Might have a shadow. A little bit of white. I'm just putting white on now. Just a little bit more specks. That highlighted snow will be kind of glistening on the tree. Let's see. So it'll be on the right-hand side. You can also put a little bit of black over it if you put too much of this on. You can get carried away doing this. So don't think you've ruined it, because you can always fix it. This is the nice thing about acrylics. It's so easy to fix. I'm not going to get too crazy with the detail, but I do like detail, well, as you know. All right. That looks good. Now, I said I was going to bring out my watercolor. I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to show you how I fix that background a little more colorful. But you do have to dry your acrylics in that area. So let's dry that. All right, so I'll take my big brush again, some water. And a little bit more of that blue. Maybe a little bit of Payne's Gray with that too. I want down on the bottom part here, I want this to look dark. So that's where most of the bush would be. You want it wet. Oop. Just gives it a little bit more moodiness to it. A little bit of Payne's gray here and there. This is wet that I'm doing wet into wet, so you could even splatter too if you wanted to. Okay, let's dry that. It is. I use it a lot. It's such a great shadow color, and you can add it to a lot of stuff to make really awesome shadows. So a little purple in it, make it a little more on the purpley side, or if you want to make dark gray, but not gray. Splattering with water. Oh, you could, because that's already got watercolor on it. So if you splatter with water and then let it soak in a little bit, and then take a paper towel and sop it up, pat it, and it'll lift, and you'll get these speckles. It looks really cool. All right. Think what I want to do now is start the fox. So the fox, I'm going to do him in acrylic. So the fox is going to be a beautiful, kind of a burnt orange color. So I have cadmium orange here with, this is Americana. I have a ton of these paints from when I had the shop, so I got to use them up. I hate waste. Now, with this, you can use, you can go right into your grainers, and this is a grainer. So you can see the, wet it. You can see the separation at the end because it gets finer. And many companies sell it. So I'm going to put this cadmium orange on all the areas that have the orange in it. And there will be other colors of orange going with this too. He has now the orange can be transparent. So you might have to use a little bit of white. I'm going to put a little bit of white right in here. So I cover those lines up from the tree. Then I can go over here. We're just putting a base coat on right now. So don't worry too much about if it's the right shade or not. This is just the main base coat. So over even the eyes here. And down the nose, just under the eye. But But I'm always going in the direction that the fur is running. Because I'm putting it past the edge here, you want to make sure you're doing the proper direction of the fur. So we want a little bit of reality in him, but he doesn't have to be completely photorealistic type of thing. These are kind of whimsical pictures, I guess. Down his nose. And he's got a little bit of white on the tip of his nose. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about getting the exact shape right now because I'm going to put white on here too. So I'm not going to get into the orange shading. And then this part also is orange. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this part here though, because that blue is showing through. That's okay. Let's see, right in here. More or less mixing it on my palette here. You have to put the white in too. Okay. And let's see. Bring it down in here a little bit. I'm going to add more orange to this now, just to darken it. And his little haunch here. Now I have it white, but I'm going to make it a little bit more of the same color here. I goofed up on that, so it's not white there. A little bit of white on my brush again, just so that I can get rid of those lines. And then we'll change up the color slightly so we can recognize different parts of the body. So let's see. I'm just going to leave just a smidgen of a lighter area around where they meet, just so I can see the separation, because these will be two different colors. But I don't want to do that right now. I just want the base coat. And then his tail. Again. Now his tail will have, I'm going to go over the top of this piece of bush of some sort. So just a base coat. We'll put it in. Then we'll put those limbs back in later. I do want that covered. That. Okay. Between his legs too, is that orange? And I missed a little spot here. There's a little area on his leg that is kind of colored there. All right, and a little bit on his ears, on the inside of his ears here. And in here. Looks good. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of a darker, maybe let's use this Napa red for some, a little bit of a darker tone. I might not use it. I don't know. We'll see how it's. That's the only problem with craft paint, is you don't know what the color mixes they put. So when you try to mix two different ones together, sometimes you'll get a mess. So let's put a little of this Napa red with this orange. Get a nice, little bit darker. And let's see. That. Okay, we'll put the darker areas on his legs, and then we'll put the black over top of it. But there is a little bit of this showing through the black. It's not a lot, but there is a little bit. Just sweeping that up into that blue area. Like that. And now let's take, I'm going to put some black in his ears, the inside of his ears here. Because we'll be putting quite a bit of fluff in his ear. So we want to do the black first, and then we'll put the whiter color in over top of it. We want that black put in. All right. I'm going to get my smaller brush here, and with the black and a little bit of that Napa red, I'm going to make a darker color. So it's a little bit on the burgundy side. Testing out. Yeah, I got to put some more of those up. I haven't got a lot of them, but I'll have to make some more. So just on the inside area of the eye here, it's real dark. It's not quite black though. A little bit on the maroon, I guess you could say. And then I want you to take it just to a point there. Do the other one the same. What was this? So I'm going around his eyeball. Like so. And I'm going to put a little bit more of this orange, the regular orange, just to fill in on the top here. Around his eye. Like that. And he has black on the tips of his ears also. So it's a little bit thicker on the very end, or tip, and then it narrows down as you go. And they're not really that fluffy on the ear part, like the top. And then just a little bit going down here. That. And we'll do this one. If you want, you could use Posca for this too. Totally work. Like that. And let's see. Okay, we did that, we did that. So let's put a little bit of that orange in the top part of the ear now. Fill that in. Too much water. Just on the top. Actually, that gets a little bit of white on the top also. Let's see. The eyes are an orange and gold color. I think I got what I want on the face. I may as well put the eyes into this orange color. Just paint the whole thing, and then we'll put the highlight and the pupil in later. That. Okay. Now a little bit on the mouth. Is this little chin. And just on the side here, just a little bit. That. And his nose. So just paint the whole nose, and then we'll put a highlight on it. So, testing out your fun membership. Oh, I already read that. All righty. So let's let that dry up there. I think we can put the white in down here. So I'm going to leave a little bit, we'll see, blue showing through areas, but I want this part to be fairly just plain white. and then it just sprays out. Flick it. And I've got this is the grainer that I'm using. So it's fairly, not really fuzzy on his nose, so it's fairly neat and tidy looking. And then as you get out here, then it starts flicking outwards, right over top of that. The orange there. And it comes down. This can be flipped out a little bit more too. Now we can just put some marks in here. Try to leave a little bit of the blue though, because that'll be the shadows cast from below that, like underneath the fur. So I'm paying attention to the lines. I'm kind of curving my brush marks too a little bit, just to give it a little bit of, I don't know, attitude. Thanks, Mina. Sprayer. Now we can put a little bit more in, like here and there. If you find you've got too much and not enough blue, you could put the blue back in. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit of that maroon color. What was that again? Napa red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lightly brush on the top part of his head here. There'd be a little bit of shadows from the shape of his head. Maybe a little bit orange in there. Got to get the right color. We'll mix a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You just kind of have to go back and forth with colors until you get the right shade you want. Yeah, and just light strokes. It's fairly dark in here. more or less dry brushing. That's what I'm doing right now. It's very, very grainy looking. And just right into here along the side of the nose will be a little bit darker. And under the eye, just like the corner of the eye there. And just sweeping it. Very dry, dry, dry. Using a slight bit of darker red to define. Yeah. Yeah. Just a slightly darker. It's just back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to take my smaller brush and just put a little bit on my fairly wet brush. So it's more of a glaze that I'm putting on because these colors are so transparent. They're very easy to put glazes. A little bit under here, top of the eye. Where the fur comes out. We'll add a little bit of lighter color on these yet too. Okay, so now let's get back to the grainer brush. I'm going to leave that right now. And put a little bit of this color on again. And right along the, just a little bit, slightly. Just add a little bit of this to the coat on the front, more or less on the edges. We can add more white or more orange or whatever. So just play with it. Put some right in here, a little bit darker on the very edge. My paint's drying quick. And then in here, I'm just going to use the plain red or the Napa red right in here a little bit. And right down in here. Between his legs would be darker. Just some brush marks. And a little bit of red with that. Black. Just a few. Now we just take that blackish red color that we made and just sweep it very short strokes along his leg. You can still see some of that dark color of the red that we put on first in areas of his foot or leg. Just have to have the right amount of water on my brush. Sweep it up into there a little bit. We can always go back in and put the white back in. Don't worry about if you're covering up something you just finished. We can always go back in. Oop. We can put some little bit of snow on his feet too. Got his toe there. Let's put that in now. Right about here. Little toe sticks out. There's his knee. It's kind of getting covered with snow. Okay, so we need to let that dry. So let's venture onto this area here. So we have some, just use my plain, that's got some black in it. Some white, pyrrole red, is it? No, what was it? Cadmium red. This is the grainer again, so I'm just sweeping it in. Got some black on my. So it's a lot of back and forth. I love doing these because they're so easy to fix if you go overboard on something. And it's good practice for figuring out your water content versus paint. Okay, and then some in here. It's fairly dark in here, actually. And then the red, Napa red. It's fairly dark right in here. Could probably put some black with that too. down in here. So I'm thinking of the shape too. So the tail is round and long. So you got to think of your shadows. How would they be in the fur? So a lot of fur has, it's not all evenly spaced. There's bunches, maybe there's tangles. Just play. But you gotta be willing to fail when you're painting, because that's the only way you're going to learn. A fail is a good thing. I know a lot of people frown on it. Nobody wants to fail, and I guess that's from school, eh? But that's how we learn. All right, so I'm going to give that a dry. And then I'm going to go back over it with some lighter colors again. Okay. Now I'm going to make a little bit of a little more on the brownish side to go over top of this here. So I'm going to add a little bit of black to this. One little bit of orange I have here. It'll give it a little bit of a more on the brownish black side. And just sweep that. And just a little bit along the edge here where the body is. And right in here a little bit where the tail. Under here. I'm just going to smudge that line in now. And then Still that brown color that I'm using. Here and there I want a little bit of that darker shade. More orange on it. Just getting a few colors. I have a friend who wouldn't draw because she wanted perfection right out of the gate. I told her it doesn't work exactly. Yeah, if that's what you're expecting, you're not gonna you'll end up giving up is what happens. They get disappointed because it's not perfect the first time they do it. They think that it's supposed to look exactly like whoever they're drawing it from. It doesn't work that way at all. It takes years to get your own style and just learn all the tricks of the trade, basically. Just bring that down there a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit more in the eye here. Now, I'm going to get another palette. I'm going to make some more of that orange up. This time I want to lighten it a bit. And let's see. No, I don't. I'm going to have some of this dark goldenrod too. And I'm going to do that white first on the ears. So right in here, in the ear here, it sprays into the ear. Kind of curve it so that it looks fluffy. There's a little bit of fuzz in this part too. And a little bit of fuzz in here. Not as long though. Along the edge. And then I'm going to take some of that goldenrod color. And I still have the white on my brush. Right in here. Kind of gets a yellowish color. Just bring it into that bit of white, a bit of water. Like that. And then that color can also go on the tail. So now we want to really pay attention. So back and forth, back and forth. A little bit on here. And under his eyes. A little bit. In here. And then the orange again. Just to flick that in a little bit. And put a little bit of white in here too. And I'm going to add a little bit of gray on this chest part. Just very lightly though. Just here and there. Not a lot. And then same, that gray, a little bit of gray on the leg, a little bit lighter. So and very, very light touch. And then a little bit more white on my brush, and I can sweep a little bit of that into the leg area now. Make him a little fuzzier. Let's get a little bit more in his ear. They are fairly fuzzy. I'm going to take a little bit of black. Maybe it's okay. Let's see. Thanks, Devin. Little fuzzies on his foot here. Just a little bit of dry brushing. Follow the lines. And on the tops of his feet here, I actually didn't put his feet in. Let's put his feet in black. And then we'll put some white over top of it. And he's just got a little ton of snow. And it's just spotting it on. So I'm not really swiping, just placing it on the top part of his foot by dabbing. And then a couple dabs downward and leave a space in between. And that'll kind of give an indication of his little toes. Like that. And then on here, a little bit more. Finer details. Have a few more. And we need some really light areas, so we're going to take some of that, let's see, orange, a little bit of orange, and a whole lot of white. I just want a really pale orange. Maybe a little bit of that ochre. Yeah, that's better. Now I'm going to use that for final highlight areas on his tail. So I'm really paying attention to where the hairs are, how they're flowing. Having trouble with this here, not liking it. Trying to get the curve of the tail proper. Just keep doing it until you get it. darker. A little better. And then just a very slight bit of light here and there, like I think that's good enough. All right, now let's do some work on the eyes. So we want a little bit of that, what is it again? Dark goldenrod. Just on the, it's a little lighter. Just around the bottom here. Of the eye. Make it a little bit lighter. You want to make sure your pupils and irises are approximately the same. Looks good, I guess. And then I'm just going to use the very end of my brush and dip it in the black paint. And then just put it in the pupil. That way they're the same size. And he has a little shine on his nose, and that'll be blue. So a little bit of this blue would probably do that. We have for the background. So if you have some of that left over, you can put that on. And just at kind of the center, a little line that goes across right there. Very, very slight. If you want to put more on, you can. Don't need to, though. I don't think so. Let's put highlight in his eye, I guess. So I think we'll put right here. Oh, yeah, and we've got, I need some white on the top part of his head too, which I forgot. See, I get carried away with stuff. Let's start. Right in here. Just a little bit of white. Just some dry brushing, just right down in his little nose here. Very slight, and a little bit underneath the eye there, little dry brushed marks. Uh, and I'm going to use a Posca and put his whiskers in. Turn it so I can. So, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a black around the eye. That. Okay. Now let's put in this tree branch here. So I'm going to put just a bunch of dry brush, or not dry brush, base coat in here. It's kind of a thicket, and then we'll put the white over top of it. So it kind of goes across like that. Let's dry that. Well, thanks, Nina. They're fun to do. Each one you can do differently, and they'll always turn out so different looking. It's fun to do them over and over again. Right, so I'm going to take my marker and I'm just going to put in a bunch of branches over top of the fox. We'll make this one bigger maybe. Some of them can be a little bit more thicker. They'll come up over here. You can follow the lines on the pattern if you want or not. It's up to you. I was just reference. You don't have to stick to my reference. have fun with it. Okay, so I got that in. So now I'm going to take my brush and thicken some of these lines up so they look more like branches instead of just little twigs. Then we'll put snow on here. So I'm overlapping lots because it's in the bush, so no care would have been taken with these, so they'd be growing all every way and which way they want. So sometimes they're kind of crazy looking, spooky looking maybe. You can put fat ones, small ones, mix it up. Maybe this is a stump. Okay, so now let's dry that and then we'll put some white on there. Okay, so now we're gonna just, maybe I'll use my whites so I know where all these branches are going. So this is kind of snow-laden. So they're crossing each other and this is very, very a quick rendering of a fox. If you're interested in more detailed, I'll be doing some more on my Patreon and YouTube. I have a bunch of projects all lined up. I'm going back into the fairies. I love my fairies. So I've got all kinds that I'm going to be doing. Cute ones, grumpy ones, scary ones. I'm going to do all kinds. Now I'm just overlapping because this is, I don't know what kind of tree or bush this was, but I'm going to make these thicker too. So I want lots of snow on them. Some are crisscrossing and we got a pile of snow on our trees the other night. It looked so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush now and finish the white up. So I want thicker areas and thinner areas. We'll also put a little bit of shading in. So that marker was just basically for me to have a road map, so to speak. A branch map, I guess you could call it. So I could figure out where everything's going. Okay. And then let's dry that, and then we'll put a little bit of shading. All right, so shading, I want the blue that we used in the background. So a little bit of this, a little bit of white, water. And then we can just, right on the underneath of some of these, just put a little bit of shading. And this way you can also decide what's overlapping what and that type of thing. So just keep it simple though. It just helps you recognize the depth a little better. The snow will have a bit of a blue tinge to it in their shadows. Or I've seen people use purple too, like a mauvey color. That works too. I'm going to bring it over a little bit more. This is the part that I enjoy the most, is the detail. What do you guys enjoy when you paint? Is it the study of it, like looking for stuff, or is it the drawing, or everybody's got their special. I get impatient with details at the end. Do you? I think that comes with practice. The more you do, the more you know, and then the easier it is. As like Mina said, you can't expect to do something the first time and have it look like a masterpiece. It just doesn't work. I love the process of painting. It's very relaxing to me because hours just fly by. Bit brighter highlights here and there. Um, I want some brights. That's why I'm going back over top of some of this with the white. Just get a little bit brighter areas. And then you can actually take a little bit of black too, and just put in a few lines underneath certain parts of the sticks. It's not all of them would be completely covered. It's too much water on my brush. You could use Posca too for this. Just gives it a little extra detail. I always find that this part is when everything comes alive. So where let's use apostrophe for the rest of this. Where the branches cross each other, if you want to put a little bit of this on the black, kind of brings it back. Gives a little more detail. Things cross, because you'd see the bottom of the branch. In certain areas. Just helps detail things, I think. I love the planning and the visualization of it and challenge. Yeah, I love that too. But that's the fun, isn't it, of the challenge. That's what I like. It's kind of like a doodling thing here. They're all kind of intertwined. Kind of like reverse painting. See, I'm getting in the zone. That's when you know I'm enjoying it. It's like quiet. That's the only thing about doing this type of thing online on a live is that I can't just stay in the zone because then you guys would be bored. So when I do the other premieres, then it's easier for me to cut out stuff or speed it up was another thing. If I got too carried away, I can get carried away, believe me. So what do you guys like? Do you like lives over premieres? I find maybe you guys don't feel as like I'm online when I do the premieres, I'm in chat, so I'm not talking directly when I'm painting, but I am in chat. For me, I think it's great, but I don't know. What do you guys like? Not bored, mentally strong, details and techniques. Thanks. You like lives? Why is it? Why do you like the lives? Because if I'm in chat, is that not the same? Because I can still tell you what I'm doing. It's just that it's you're not getting as much, bored of the drawing times and stuff like that. I like both, whatever work for you better. Yeah. Everybody's different, eh? And a lot of times it's easier for me as far as when I can do it. Like sometimes, the dogs are crazy or maybe I just don't feel like doing it at 1 o'clock. And I'd rather do it at night or, then I can and I don't have to worry about it. Because I know that the act of creation is happening in real time, so live. Oh, okay. So you like to actually see how long it's taking and have a better idea of what's involved time-wise, I guess you could say. I get that. I'm gonna fix his little ears here. Soften the edges up a little bit. There you go. Right. Now I'm going to put just a little bit more blue in here, just to make that a little bit more shadowed just under here. Doesn't have to be a lot. He needs a little bit more. Just where his paws are. I don't think that's dark enough. A little bit right here, a little more. So I will be doing, I'm not totally giving up on lives, just to let you know, but I will be doing more premieres over lives. All right. So let's dry that up and take a good look at it, and we'll see if it's done or not. So let's see. I think it's done. I always do this. I say I'm done, and then I find something. That's me. Sorry, guys. See? This is what I mean. Darn dogs. Okay, I could play with this for a long time, but I think that's it. Okay, so there's a cute little fox. He's got snowy feet. So I hope you'll give it a try and post it on Instagram so I can see it. And don't forget to download your printable. And we'll, for all blooming artists and budding artists, blooming artists, we will have a live on Sunday, and blooming artists, your video for this month will be coming up on Saturday. And I should have it posted by 6 o'clock on Saturday. So look for that. And yeah, thanks for coming to the studio, and I hope to see you guys again, and have a fantastic weekend. Be creative, everybody. Have a good one. Bye for now.